Hey folks, as you can see today, I've built myself a little block fort of postage that's arrived in the last couple of weeks. A spin-off of having an audience is something that you may not think about, and it's that companies just incessantly contact you wanting to send you things for review, which really means a lot of the time they just want free promotion, and they offer all these little incentives to try and get skewed reviews. Now, I tend to say no to all of them, but I thought for something different, I would just say yes to every offer that came in that wasn't unreasonable for a whole month, and then do it all in one mega review. So let's do it. Before we jump into this, folks, head on over to the website, sign up to the mailing list, check the different download courses that I have available, and if you're into gear, you can check out my gear buying guide. That's totally free, and it has all of the different things that I've tested there put together in one place. Now, I don't want to throw shade. All of the companies who've sent me stuff this week this month were easy to deal with, and overall, you'll see my thoughts on the products. They vary from garbage to pretty damn good, actually. And I don't want to throw shade indiscriminately, but the amount of requests I get to review things, it can be a couple a day, it can be dozens a day, and sometimes 5, 6, 10 people from the same company, or saying they're from the same company, contact you in a week or two with different copy and paste versions of the same thing. And I'll be completely honest, I normally say no because, one, I think it's a waste of my time, and two, it's often, I think, misleading to the audience. A company will say, and not this company, but for example, hey, we want to send you this product, we'll send it to you for free, and we just want a review. You say yes, and then they say, oh great, actually we can also give you a discount code and a giveaway for your audience. Now, if you're getting started, that might sound like a great thing. But then by having a discount code, it's encouraging you to give it a favorable review so that you get a commission from it. Having a giveaway, likewise, you don't want to be doing a giveaway of something that you've just said is terrible. So that's skewing you. And then also so often, they'll say, okay, now instead of us actually sending it to you, how about you buy it on Amazon, and as soon as you've left us positive feedback on Amazon as a verified purchaser, we'll refund you the money, or we'll send you the money ahead of time even. So not only are they skewing the video reviews going on YouTube, but they're trying to skew the verified purchaser reviews on Amazon. It really makes me look at a lot of that stuff with a grain of salt. Now, you'll see there's a whole range of brands here, some you may have never heard of before. There's so many companies coming out of Asia at the moment. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're good or bad. And not a lot, but several people who wrote to me in the last month are big brands that you would know. And when I wrote back to them saying, look, I can't really take a $1,500 monitor and say it's a review, that's a promotion, I would have to either return it to you or, turn it into a formal promotion and disclose it to the audience, they just stop writing. And then you do a search and find there's already a bunch of these reviews on the market with no disclaimer that it was actually a gifted high-value item. So here's my disclaimer. Everything that was here, I was sent, I didn't pay for. If they want it back, they can have it back, but I didn't request it from them. And I'm going to give you my full honest feedback. I told them I would include it in a video, not that I would give it its own dedicated video. And anyone who was trying to push more and more BS, I just refused the product. And there was so many other things. I was meant to be sent a sous vide, an air filter. People have offered me makeup kits for some reason. All these different things when they see you have an audience. Anyway, long story short, let's get into the reviews. First off, these are a pair of wireless earbuds. These are the Linpa T2 earbuds. Linpa, like a couple of companies, write saying, hey, we'd like to send you X. And then when you say yes, they actually send you more than one thing. I have a feeling they're often on a contract where it's their job to get as many products out rather than getting the right products to the right people. In any case, these earbuds, they're selling for $50 as promised to everyone who sent these. There will be links to Amazon below. But again, these are my honest opinions. I'm not going to tell you that I think something's good to try and get a commission from it if it's not good. So these earbuds, they're $50. The new Apple ones are like $200 for the wireless ones. I have to say they actually paired incredibly easily. Push the button and then they were paired. Now, on day 2 of using them, in the middle of doing a phone conference actually, they just started doing like a test back and forward and losing connection and regaining connection. I don't know what that was about. For the week since then, they've been working seamlessly. And you might have seen in a recent episode of Tog Life, I actually had these in and they worked just fine. The sound isn't fantastic. It's not going to be like Apple or Bose quality, something like that. It's going to be around $50 quality. But adjusting the EQ in my laptop to a kind of a bass boost setting, it sounded okay. It's still not a rich sound, however. When you've got your connected left channel, right channel, the recorded audio that's in these, it's hilariously heavy accented, the voice you're hearing, so occasionally I giggle just when I get a notification from them. But overall, I thought it was quite good, and the little box charges via micro USB, and it has a battery in it. So it also, you drop them in, and then it's continuing to charge them for, I think, about double the life. So first product is actually pretty good, and there's something that I hope I'll actually continue using over the channel. Next up, they also sent me the Linpa N1 headphones. Now, they don't come with any kind of a case. This is it. They're, again, USB chargeable, Bluetooth. They're kind of, like a pair of Beats or something like that. But the earbuds, they don't rotate at all. It's just kind of fixed, and they feel incredibly plasticky. And considering the size improvement, I actually don't think the audio quality is very much better than the T2 ones. These are only $30, so maybe that's kind of explaining a little bit why. These I personally wouldn't find myself using again. Now, next up, I just found this funny. People, I know English isn't everyone's first language, so I'm not meaning to be mean, but I was sent this as a super tall, lightweight tripod. Now, for those of us in the photography world, we know this is an incredibly lightweight light stand. It's not really a tripod. I guess it depends how you define it. Yes, it has 3 legs, but it's super lightweight. It feels like it weighs like a pound or something. Then it's basically for you to put your cell phone on, and you can put it in either orientation, pop it in, and then be able to stream live or whatever. And I've used it for that. For its purpose, it works just fine. I have to say though, first of all, it goes up to 82 inches. On their Amazon page, they show it with an entry-level DSLR on the top of it. I would absolutely not be doing that. Now, the only reason that I, wouldn't recommend this, they're charging $37 for it. I know it includes shipping, but to me, this is a $5 or $10 light stand, and this is a $1 accessory. It's not a $37 product. Okay, the TeeWell T300. This is a waterproof speaker. Again, TeeWell contacted me to send me one thing and actually sent me, I think, 3. To my surprise, this $22 waterproof speaker, it actually sounds pretty good for use in the shower. It's not, going to give you amazing reproduction, but it sounds good. When I put it under the tap, yes, it sounded underwater. It literally was. But shaking it off, it quickly came back to sounding just fine. And in a confined space like a shower, I actually think you would get a decent sound out of it. So this is, out of all of them, maybe the one that I think is most worth the money. $22, really easy pairing, almost instant. Sound quality is pretty good, rechargeable. That's a decent product. Next up is the soundbar. Now, you have to worry when a soundbar, it's a decent looking unit. It feels like it's fairly well made. It's a fairly big size. It's $30 posted, which I'll be honest, made me worry that it's going to be absolute junk. Now, it's crazy trying to show you audio through this because it's going to be recorded through my mic, then played back on whatever your speakers are. But I can say, long story short, it actually, again, sounds pretty good. A $30 tiny little soundbar. No, it's not like a 60-inch Bose or Sony or whatever soundbar. Of course not, or a B&O. It's $30 shipped. But again, it sounds way better and actually works instantly, unlike what my expectation was. So I'm impressed. And last one from them, and let me just say this again for the record, not being paid by anyone, didn't request any of this stuff, have no ongoing relationship with any of these brands. They just wrote to me and I said, okay. The last one is this retro speaker. This one isn't a battery pack one. You need to plug this into the wall, but it is, however, Bluetooth. And again, I actually think the styling of it is kind of cool if you like the retro look. Of the three, despite this being the biggest and deepest, I actually think it had the worst sound out of the three of them, which is a big surprise. But again, at 40 bucks, if you like the look, for easy listening in one room, fine. You wouldn't use it at a party with a big group of people, but for low audio, just fine. Next, let's look at some lights. Again, I got sent way more than I was expecting. This is the Viltrox VL500T. I have used this on a shoot already. It doesn't come with a battery. It uses the kind of ubiquitous battery type, however. Single battery, switch it on. It's got adjustable temperature and adjustable power. It's all using the same button. You just push it to change which mode you want to be in. Now, I think this is aiming to be something like the flapjack from Photodiox, where the lights are actually on the side pointed in, which gives you a diffuse light. It kind of works, but it's definitely not as soft or flattering a light as the flapjacks. It just isn't. This one is $70. They're claiming 2,000 lumens. I'm really not sure about that. And it feels incredibly plasticky. I have a feeling that if this dropped from 5 foot off the ground, it would split in half, and that would probably be the end of it. So at $70, it's probably not terrible value, but it's not one that I would personally lean towards. Next up, another Viltrox. This one is the VL S192T. Such a catchy name. This is a more standard design. It does have a remote. This needs battery, this has mains power, but it does also have the option for you to put 2 of these batteries on the back, but it does require both of them to run. Separate dials on this one, bit more control, built on barn doors, 4 barn doors. Let's switch it on. So that's 20% power. And you can see it's color adjustable. So it's got these 2 different bands, and when you change the color, essentially you're turning on and off the intensity of the different lights. When you're in the middle, they're both on. When you're going to cooler, the warm ones turn off, and vice versa. But you'll note this is a pretty old-fashioned style with these giant LEDs with a big space in between them. So you absolutely are going to want to put the diffuser on. That's like having however many 200 tiny point lights. It's going to give you a really nasty light. It doesn't give you a surface area this size when they're all individual lights like that. And then once we have this diffuser on, you can see it's giving quite a lot lower output. But again, to be able to use it with batteries or on mains, it's a lightweight unit. It feels better built than the VL500T, but still nowhere near the build quality of like a metal unit, like an Aperture. And that would be my other concern, that being a majority plastic design, if you were using this for an extended amount of time at full power, like I am right now, I have 2 LED lights on at full power lighting me in this scene, that I would be worried about heat management. That's potentially generating a lot for what is a mostly plastic body. That one is coming in at $120, and they're claiming 4,700 lumens. And that's measured at 4,400K. Again, I don't know that that's totally accurate. It's always best case scenario, those numbers. Let's take a break from lights for a second and actually talk about this monitor here. This is a Fotga. I'll be honest, I'd never heard of the brand. The guy who sent it out was nice and easy to deal with. He was professional. He explained the different features of it. This one is now with their latest model that has touchscreen and 3D LUTs. It's firmware updatable. He sent me the links. It seemed like to be able to update the firmware. It's a nice looking unit. Again, it's light and plasticky. This one is coming in at $209. It's a 5-inch display. It's full HD. It supports 4K HDMI in and out, even though it can only display for 1080. It's not a recorder, it's just the display, so its most direct comparison would be the new Atomos Shinobi, which is $400. This is claiming 510 CD of brightness, a contrast ratio of 1500 to 1, and 170-degree viewing angle. Having tested it a little outside, that viewing angle in any kind of bright light is going to significantly drop. It's not the same kind of quality panel as you get from a small HD, but it's a third or a quarter of the price. And it does come with its own little snap-on hood, which will really help with the stray light. So I think for the price, it's pretty good. I guess it really depends on what kind of production you're doing. In video world, $200 to $400 if you're on a shoestring budget can really make a difference. If you're looking for something that's going to give you the best image quality and have less compromises, then something like the Shinobi may be a better option for you. But whilst this is lightweight, it's hard to explain with plastics, right? Because the Viltrox, I just feel like that will bust in half if I drop it. This doesn't feel like that. I think if it dropped from 15 feet it might, but in everyday use I have a feeling that this plastic is a higher quality that may actually last a little bit. So $209, probably a pretty reasonable purchase. Again, all of these things, it kind of goes without saying. I feel silly to say it, but it totally comes down to your budget. Someone who's doing a high-end video production isn't going to be using a $200 monitor. They might be using a $2,000 field monitor. Someone who's doing a student film, a $200 monitor may be out of their realm. So you need to, of course, think about what your requirements and budget are. And you didn't click on this for a field monitor review anyway. This is a bit of fun. Next up, the Geekotto tripod, which sounds like it's kind of ripping off a whole bunch of different companies. Geekotto tripod. Now, the first thing that sprung to me was, it's heavy, man. It's aluminum alloy, and it is what it is. You know, we often want the lightest weight possible tripod, but weight also equals stability. Having something that's a great quality carbon fiber makes it rigid and less susceptible to wobbles. But still, at a point, if something gets knocked or is in gale force winds, weight is your friend. So if you want a heavier tripod, this is a great option. It also has the monopod leg, which a lot of tripods have these days. It's got two legs that have the little pedal pusher foam on them. But one of the things that this one promotes as being different is that you can actually adjust this guy and shoot completely horizontally. So in that regard, it works quite well. It's an Arca Swiss head. This is a $150 tripod. It'll go up to 75 inches in working height or down to 24. And you can, you have full 360 movement on everything. If you get rid of this center section, then the legs go down to almost flat, so you can get right down low. So at $150, I think it offers a lot of features. Of course, the finishing isn't up to Manfrotto or Gitzo standards, but again, you get what you pay for. $150, this little feature with light, careful use, I think is going to last for some time. I don't know that I would want it in a day in, day out professional scenario. And the only other thing would be that if you're going to get this for travel, just be aware of the weight, because even lugging it around next to one of my carbon fiber tripods, I really noticed the extra pounds. Now, the next one is I'm a little conflicted on, but I'm going to just share the information with you and trust that you will give it your own thought and not come to a knee-jerk reaction. This is a mic set from Comica, and I have a bit of a history with them now. And I understand, or I get the impression anyway, that a lot of these big companies and factories, especially in Southeast Asia, must go to an agency and say, we want to get these out to influencers. Go for it, because I get an email from a different person's name using a Comica email address probably every week of the year. And if I say no to everyone, that person doesn't write again, but next week, Cindy, Micah, David, Lewis writes to me instead. And so I've been saying no for so long. When they wrote about this one, it is actually a product that I would like to see be good and be able to share with you guys. So I said yes, but in full disclosure, a year ago, they sent me something similar, their previous generation, and it was garbage. It's a dual mic setup, and you'll see it comes in this really nice case. The units themselves look pretty schmick. The unique point about this one is that it's got 2 transmitters to 1 receiver. And there's actually not many entry-level kits that do that. If you go up into the thousands of dollar units, you can get them, but it needs to have dual whole receivers built in here on different channels and then a quality mixer to make it all work. And the one they sent me last year, we did a day of filming with it and then found it was just completely unusable. There was this whoosh, 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 whoosh going through. So I guess the mixer was set to whirlpool mode. But this is a new day, a new product, and it should be judged on its own merits. So opening up the kit, impressive looking box, impressive looking units. To be honest, they still feel really plasticky and chintzy. It doesn't feel like it's going to break straight away, but if I compare it to like a set of Sennheisers or Rode mics, it definitely doesn't feel like the same kind of build quality. This is just cheap plastic with a carbon fiber look to it. Lifting it up, you've got all the different accessories there to put together the different parts. And that's cool, but then once it's all together, it's kind of, you can't just put it back in the box as is. So that janky attachment to put it onto the top of your tripod, you have to screw that off every time and put it back in the kit. Whereas I'm kind of used to, again, Rode or Sennheiser kits, where you can just take it off the camera, throw it in your bag, and every part is strong and all in one unit with a cable that actually screws down so it's not going to get damaged. This is not at that kind of a point in the refinement market. But I'm happy to report my early testing is that it actually works. The audio quality is fine. It's mixing, it's not picking up too much background noise. Of course, it takes tweaking to get everything right, but the mic unit is not as high end of a pickup unit, say, as the Rhodes that I'm using here, but it was fine. And for YouTube type work, I think it will actually be something that I can make use of in the future. And as you as a consumer, you don't have to deal with the email a week from different people. You don't have to deal with the unit that I had a year ago. It's just, it is what it is. So the WS60, it's not nearly as fancy or rugged as the case or the design might lead you to think. But if you want a decent unit at a reasonable price, we're talking like $230 or something, which again, for some people is going to be a lot of money, but for a dual transmitter system is a bargain if it actually continues working. Having said that, I haven't tried a range test or anything like that, so let me know what you think. If you're interested in this, this could be one that I would actually do additional testing on, do some range testing, compare the audio pickup quality to other systems to show you how it's actually performing. Oh, and one other thing to note, whilst every other product in this kind of market that I use uses AA batteries, this uses AAAs and each unit uses 3. So you need to buy 9 AAA batteries and carry those around with you on top of the AAs you'll have for all of your other devices. For me, that's a pain in the butt. 2 more things. I'm actually kind of glad that I didn't get the air filter and the sous vide and the this and the that. It would have taken me days to film. This guy weighs a freaking ton. Now this guy, it's a beast. I'll be honest, this is one where I just saw the word light and we want to send it to you for testing, and I didn't see a bunch of stupid requirements or upsells, so I said yes, but didn't really even know what was coming. This is so heavy, a Menic SZ1000A. Now this is a focusing film spotlight. So it's got the built-in doors, and then by moving this, you're moving that front element away from the bulb, so you're focusing the beam from 15 degrees to 65 degrees. I'll say it again and again, this thing is so heavy. I guess in a way, comparing it to the plastic ones, that's a good thing. This is meant to sit there and do its job, and it's got the big heat sink in the back there to be able to dissipate all of that heat. Now this has a digital control box. They're claiming a CRI of 95. I'd be quite surprised, but that's the claim. And it is dual colors. So this will do from 3600 to 5600 in 100K increments. So that's not a huge range, but pretty helpful. It does have a remote control, and it is a phenomenal workout. Good God, I hope I haven't scratched my table. That, however, is $459, and I have to imagine $150 of that goes to just shipping the monster. Unfortunately, when I went to go film this at a third or fourth time to get some B-roll for this video, the control unit isn't working. I can see the power's getting to the transformer, but the unit doesn't respond, so the light doesn't turn on. That would need its own economy class seat to get that over here from China. And the last one, this is another one that I have a history with. This is from Falcon Eyes. A year ago, maybe more than that, no, 2 years ago with Steph, I did a video on all different kinds of light sources. Falcon Eyes had sent this thing that was a foldable LED array. The light was fine, but it smelled so strong of chemicals, I didn't feel safe having it in the house. So after we tested it, I got rid of it. Now opening this, there's still a little touch of that. I feel like the quality of chemicals or plastics or whatever, or the finishing to get rid of that odor, isn't up to the standard of other things. I can still smell it a bit, but it's nowhere near what the other one was, like a tenth. This doesn't feel like I'm, getting sick just by being near it at least. Well, holy shit. I did not know how expensive this thing was. This is the BL300TD. It's much lighter than the other guy. Let me just give you a sense though. When you get something and it's got a little power adapter this big because that's all it needs, or this big or this big. This, oh dear Lord, oh I need a workout, is what it's running on. So it will take V-mount batteries on each side. It's got built-in cooling. It's got the whole control panel. It's got a remote. The front of this is Bowens mount. Ugh, and it's going to fall over. This is a serious heavy-duty piece of kit. They're claiming 300 watts of power output, and this time I'd actually believe it. And it has this gigantic bi-color array LED on the front, one high-tech unit with right behind it you can see a huge heatsink for it. This one has variable color as well, 3000 to 8000 K, and yeah, the fact that you can use the V-mount batteries rather than these little guys gives you an idea of the kind of power that this guy is outputting. The build of this actually feels quite nice. The body is mostly plastic. The key elements are metal, however. Putting it together, it still is not a hugely refined kind of a system, especially like all of the moving parts are just not at the kind of level that you would hope. This is an $800 piece of equipment. I feel like the light, the control box are high quality. They're at that price point, and the other little pieces are not. But the fact that it didn't run hot in my testing, or not so hot that it would be of a concern, the fact that it doesn't smell like crazy chemicals means that, again, in the world of this kind of a product, this is actually quite a good price. Where you can't compare it to these little ones that are $70 and $100. This is meant for a completely different purpose, and I have already done some shooting with this with Joe. I've got another huge shoot coming this week with both Joe and Steph that I'll be putting this through its paces as well. So again, if you're interested to see more on this guy in the future, let me know, because that is, if as a long-term performer, actually it is reliable, it's not overheating, and the fact that it has Bowens mounts, you can put your different photography accessories on there, but use it for stills or for video even, putting different modifiers on, but not completely baking the set because it's one big LED. That's an interesting product, I think. So there we are. That is, well, I say that's a month of saying yes to whatever people came through. But if I had actually said yes to everything, including all of the BS and them wanting this and that and wanting 3 dedicated videos for a $50 phone case, or wanting me to send them royalty-free photos and video that they could use worldwide without exclusion. These are all things that, again, I get asked for every day in return for things that I have not requested. And if everyone who actually said they were sending stuff had delivered it, we would have had I don't know, 10 times more than this, much more than that. It's literally at least 10 requests a day that come in. So we would have had hundreds of items here. So this is what worked out from saying yes as much as I could over a month. I hope you found that interesting. If you found any of these particular products to be something that you would actually use, give me some details below. Let me know what you would like to see a little bit more testing on, or if you have any follow-up questions on any of the products, I'll do my best to answer those in the description below. Otherwise, if you want to verify the specs on everything, check the links that are in the caption. Again, all of the companies that I have here with the descriptions that I've added as I went along were actually pretty easy to deal with and seemed legit and up and coming with that background history I gave you. So my general tension around this issue of sending stuff out to everyone just wanting to get it seen by people in return for nothing is more to do with the market rather than these individual sellers. I hope that came across. Anyway, I think that's enough now, so please like, subscribe. I'll see you soon.